Well, hey there, everyone. Happy Monday afternoon. King 5, Meteorologist Adam Claibon, here to go over a pretty active and somewhat interesting Monday evening and first half of the night that we have going on as a system rolls through, bringing in colder air. We still have moisture that's going to be around with that, so snow levels as they get really close to sea level will mean some winter weather here across the lowlands, and we're going to have some instability to go along with that too. So we'll be keeping an eye out for some lightning and some thunder, possibly too, some small hail to go along with some breezy winds in a few spots. But here throughout the afternoon, rain shadowing has been keeping things relatively quiet closer to Puget Sound. So you can see here a few light raindrops from time to time, maybe even a few sun breaks for us in Tacoma. Same can be said for Everett too, but it's up this way around Everett, Snohomish County, that I think we should keep an eye out for. That convergence zone eventually starting to develop later on into the evening. Some heavier downpours with rain, some snow too, going to be the result with some of that as that starts to draw down some of that colder air from the upper parts of the atmosphere. And then as you look alive in Wishkah, you can see kind of the back and forths we've been seeing here throughout the day with the blue skies, the clouds coming through as some of the rain that we've had here throughout a good chunk of your Monday. So let's continue on. Let's talk about what's happening currently out there. You can see waves of moisture coming off of the Pacific, rain shadowing here across Puget Sound, keeping things relatively dry. What's going to happen eventually is we'll start to see this fill on in here across central parts of Puget Sound, where we're going to have that convergence zone develop here from about Everett and kind of maybe shift a little farther to the south here eventually around Seattle and point southward as it continues to die off as it goes down that way. But you can see a lot of the rain just kind of holding on closer to the coast and right there along the western slopes of the Olympics. Now, speaking of the winds, we have advisories out for the coast and also for the Admiralty Inlet. That includes the eastern strait of Juan de Fuca as well as Camano and Whidbey Islands. That's going to be until midnight, and we expect winds to be anywhere between 25 to 35 miles per hour, some gusts closer to about 45. We also have an advisory out for sea level. It's going to be there along the south coast. That's starting up tonight at 10 p.m., lasting until 10 a.m., heading into early tomorrow morning, where we could see up to 2 inches of snow there. That's where we have the highest confidence of snow in the lowlands and probably the highest confidence of some accumulating snowfall here as we go over the next 24 hours. Now, elsewhere, you can see up across the North Cascades, South Cascades, the mountains, we're talking about more advisories out for winter weather. That's until 10 p.m. tonight. We're expecting up to 6 more inches of snow from what we've already seen here throughout the course of the day, and then the sweet spot right in between there with that convergence zone beginning to develop. That's where that moisture will ride up into the Cascades, dump a lot of snow, between 6 to 17 inches of additional snow on top of what we've already seen. And this storm warning will go into effect until 11 p.m. later on here into the night. So speaking of areas here closer to Seattle, cloudy skies for a lot of the afternoon, rain shadowing, keeping things dry for now. Your evening commute, and probably more towards the tail end of the evening commute, that's when we start to see some of that moisture developing and then lasting here until about at least the first half of the night. After midnight, a lot of that does begin to die on off, and the moisture will be extremely limited at that point. But it is going to be depending on where exactly that convergence zone does set up. So looking at future radar, latest model output shows that we start to see that around 6 to 7 o'clock tonight. That cold air begins to interact with the limited moisture that we still have in place. So you can see up and down Puget Sound, we're starting to see some areas dealing with, some snow at that point, maybe up across the San Juan Islands, here closer to areas such as Snohomish County, maybe Whatcom County and Skagit County too, and then up into the foothills of Pierce and King counties. Going to be a limited amount of moisture. Most of this is going to be at least, I would say, 1,000 feet and above as far as the snow, and that's where we'll have the better opportunity of seeing some accumulating snowfall with that. Now let's advance that a little more. We get closer to about midnight tonight. A lot of moisture begins to wane. Let me back it up just a bit more. You can see that convergence zone as it sinks southward. We get one that's right over King County, northern parts of Pierce County, and it generally looks like right over I-90s, Stevens Pass too, picking up some snow at this point. We can see a quick dumping of snow, and this will be our best opportunity of seeing maybe some light accumulations if we are to see some here closer to the Puget Sound lowlands. Now we continue on past midnight, and that's where you can see a lot of this moisture just disappear completely. And so by early tomorrow morning, we're dry. We're starting to clear out, and that colder air is starting to remain in place. Now, I wanted to show you the temperatures because this is going to probably limit any sort of accumulations that we see on the road. So whatever we're going to see that it's mainly going to be on the grassy surfaces or more elevated surfaces here as we go throughout tonight and maybe early Tuesday morning. But temperatures as they drop tonight, 9 p.m. at the time that we're expecting some of the moisture to come through, some of that snow to fall. We're still sitting above freezing in most, if not all, of our locations here in the lowland. So again, roads should be okay. And as we continue deeper on into late tonight, early into tomorrow morning, we start to see some spots getting closer to that freezing point. So there could be some isolated areas on those streets and roads here closer to sea level. I think the better chances of maybe noticing some of those icy spots will be higher up in elevation above 1,000 feet. Then we continue on into tomorrow morning. Moisture should be gone for pretty much everyone at that point, and we'll continue on into tomorrow afternoon with a very cold forecast still left behind for the rest of Tuesday, even though we get to see more sunshine. So as I show you this graphic right here, I don't want it to concern you or really to you to focus on the exact amounts at each one of these locations, but it is going to show you where we have the capability of maybe noticing some light accumulations with this convergence zone that's going to come through here into the first half of the night. And that's where it is right there. And anywhere from Camino, Whidbey Island, from I think more of Skagit County, the lowlands there, parts of Snohomish County, and then King County, maybe northern Pierce County. Keep an eye out for a quick dusting to maybe an inch in those spots. I think most areas, though, probably won't see it, and the better opportunity that you'll have of seeing some accumulations will be probably sitting above 500 feet here as we head on into the evening before this starts to head on out of here. Now, speaking of the rain amounts, we are going to see some heavier downpours at times, so that could lead to about a ½ inch in some spots here around Puget Sound as that convergence zone does start to head on through. And yes, better yet, for those of you who are big skiers, snowboarders, or just winter lovers and snow lovers in general, we got a lot into the mountains, and we still got about a foot more possible up there around Snoqualmie and Stevens Pass. 7 inches possible around White Pass, around 2 more inches here as we head on into the evening with that snow beginning to taper off across the North Cascades for Mount Baker. Rain chances today, yeah, for the rest of today, I think we keep it in the form of liquid, and anything that we do see will be relatively light. Highs in the mid-40s farther to the north, south, mid to upper 40s down this way around Redmond, Issaquah, 44 in Everett, and 49 in Bremerton. And you're going to be look good and maybe set to go if you're heading out later on into the afternoon here around South Sound as we get highs to reach more the mid to upper 40s around these spots and a few light showers that are going to come on through. And then tonight's lows, 30s, maybe a few spots dropping into the 20s, but at that point, the moisture should be gone and out of here. 42 tomorrow for your Valentine's Day. Dry, it looks like, at least afterwards through Thursday. Maybe a few showers around for your Friday, possibly 2 more for your Saturday. Better chances coming in by the time we head on into next Sunday. So really the main takeaways with this is it's not going to be a major event. We don't expect to see high accumulations here into the lowlands. Decent amount across the mountains, especially if you're driving across Snoqualmie Pass tonight or Stevens Pass. Keep it in mind, you want to check what the conditions are before you make your travel there. But as far as major impacts here for the lowlands, we don't expect that. But as we head on here into the evening, especially that evening commute, late evening commute, first part of the night, some minor accumulations kind of here and there could be disruptive as far as some of your driving plans there. And then also to keep an eye out for some lightning and thunder within that convergence zone as we draw a little more energy out of the atmosphere and possibly could see maybe some small hail come with it too. Take care, everyone. We'll talk to you later.